Super Rugby this Saturday. We've got two games, as seems to be per normal these days. One in New Zealand, one in Australia. Saturday is the big day of rugby. If you are looking to get your fix, there's the two games on. One is the Crusaders and the Hurricanes, which is essentially like a final for Super Rugby Aotearoa. I think if the Crusaders win this one, then she's pretty much all over Rover. I don't know about mathematically what other teams would have to do, but the Hurricanes winning would certainly keep the competition looking a bit more lively. But if the Crusaders go 5 from 5, the next best team's got 3 wins and 2 losses, which will be the Blues and the Canes, or 3 wins and 3 losses for the Hurricanes if they lose it. It'll be tough, and the Force could certainly use a win after 2 opening losses, but the Brumbies will be looking to go on top in AU. We will start with the first one, which is the Crusaders and the Hurricanes. There are a few changes to both sides, but not kind of drastic changes. The impressive Will Jordan, he's back, and he's going to be causing all kinds of havoc from the back. I think he has been, in a Crusaders squad which already kind of stands out on its own, he has been the standout of all the standout players. So he's there at fullback. He came off the bench in their last game against the Blues and obviously scored a try. It's just what he seems to be doing these days. But he is starting at fullback. Unfortunately for the Crusaders, David Havili is out for the season. Likewise, Ethan Blackadder. But in terms of, I guess, on the pitch, starting line impact, Havili's loss is going to be pretty deeply felt. But then, I mean, you still got Severis, you still got George Bridge, you still got Whanganuku, so there's heaps of players that can still fill in that gap for Havili. Remember, he was coming back off an injury layoff anyway, having had some surgery. But it's unfortunate for him. He seems to have not the best luck lately of injuries, but as I mentioned, as my daughter goes nuts in the background, Will Jordan being back is certainly no slouch. The front row seems the same. Moody, Taylor, Alalatoa, Whitelock and Dunche second row, Sanders, Christie, Fitu, Kamokamo, Douglas at number 8. That's that Crusaders fullback, man. They're going to take some matching. Bryn Hall continues on at 9, so it means Drummond continues on the bench. It seems to be more often recently that Drummond is on the bench. It used to kind of be 50-50. Is it just me, or does it feel like Hall's getting the nod more often than not? Mo'unga's at 10. Goodhue and Paia is the big change, I guess, at 13 because Braden Enor is injured. I'm not sure that Enor's been in top class form compared to some of the other standout guys like Mo'unga, like Will Jordan, like the back rows like Christie and Sanders who've been phenomenal. So, hopefully he has a good game. I think it's his first start for Paia, so it's a good chance for him. And back row, back 3 is Reese, Bridge, and Jordan, like I said. So a few changes due to injury, but the Crusaders are 4 from 4 and looking very strongly like they will go ahead and lift that trophy. If you haven't seen the trophy, I think they put it on their Facebook page. What it's going to look like, the Super Rugby Aotearoa trophy. So if it's going to be not going to Canterbury, the Hurricanes need to do everybody else a favour here. Their team is also pretty stable, although Dane Coles is out, which is unfortunate. However, Asofa Amua is in at number 2, and he has been really good. So, again, it's not a terrible replacement to have. Riccatelli comes in as the bench cover, but Amua has been in maybe that form that saw him, at least like in that All Blacks kind of frame work. Man, my daughter is loud today. She's pumped for this game as well, like I am. That's why. So, he's in starting. Armstrong and Lomax are still starting as well. I think Lomax probably needs to step up since he's moved to the Canes. He's not exactly been tearing the house down. He was a kind of big, impressive signing. You know, there's not that many guys that switch, top guys, starting guys that switch from team to team, but he did that. So, it's another week. It doesn't get much tougher than going to play the Crusaders down in Christchurch, but good opportunity to impress. Blackwell and Scruffton, the Locks have been singing Blackwell's praises all season. He's been in top form. Princep, Karifi, and Savia. Savia, is it just me? Like, he's been kind of quietly good the last few weeks, but not like world-beating loose forward like we were used to seeing last year. But again, he's coming off a huge injury layoff as well, so maybe he's just still warming up. But I'm not saying he's been bad. He's just not been He's just been good. So we're used to seeing him kind of be excellent. Perenada's at 9. Jackson Garden-Bishop still gets the nod at 10. He got dropped 1 week, but maybe he was just rested for Fletcher Smith, but Fletcher Smith can't crack the 23. Ben Lamb's last game. He's on there in the left wing before he goes off to France, so he'd like to get a win before he leaves. Laumape for mine has been the pick of the New Zealand midfielders. He's at 12. And Umaga Jensen had a good game last week at 13. He continues on. Hussein comes in for Van Fake on the right wing, and Geordie Barrett is still there at fullback. It does mean Chase Tiatia gets onto the bench. We haven't seen much of him in the Aotearoa season, so it's good to see him back. Arse's on the bench. Jamie Booth, Fafita still can't get a start. Isaiah Walker-Leaweda, tried to say all 3 names at the same time. He's there on the bench as well. So it's a strong-looking Canes team, it must be said. Strong enough to be the first team to beat the Crusaders since I think the Canes last did it in 2016. I don't know, man. You don't get a record from 2016 through to 2020 without being pretty bloody good. And the Crusaders, with their 4-0 record, are that coming off a break as well. Will they be more well-rested? Will there be any rust? I don't think so. But yeah, it's a big job. Big job for the Canes. But both these teams are coming off wins against the Blues. So they've both proven their status. I mean, the Crusaders, that was never in any doubt. The Hurricanes at the start of the season were looking slightly doubtful. But, yeah, they've kind of picked things up, at least in recent times. So, yep. Who's the favourite? Well, it's the Crusaders. The bookies have got the Crusaders by 10. Rugby Forecast, that was Rugby Forecast algorithms got them by 10. The bookies have got the Crusaders by 11. So remember, most of the games in the Aotearoa competition thus far have usually been pretty close. There's been some kind of blowouts. Crusaders have been known to blow teams out in the last 10 minutes, but let's hope for a close one. Let's hope the Hurricanes can really, really, really step things up. I'm not trying to be biased, man, but honestly, if these guys just go a clean sweep, then the last round or two might be a little bit less interesting. So there's no final series in this one, so it's straight to top of the log wins it. So I really want to see some tension at the end. But so that's what kind of makes this one like a final, almost. Somebody tell me the maths if you've done the maths. If the Crusaders win this one, what has to happen for other teams to win it? What's the best record another team can get? Because remember, the Crusaders have still got a game in hand on everybody else. I haven't done the maths, but anyway. The next game is the Western Force up against the Brumbies. It's technically a home game for the Force, but it's being played in Sydney at Leichhardt Oval because of the travel restrictions in Australia. So Western Australia is not kind of cleared to play because they are trying to keep things as safe as they can in Western Australia. You can't blame them for that. And yeah, we'll see how they go in their home away from home. They've had a couple of changes for the Western Force. Ian Pryor is out, which is unfortunate because he drives that team around really well. But Nick Frisbee is in. I think it's his first game of AU rugby. So yeah, let's hope he hits the ground running. And Henry Tafu is in there in the 12 jersey. Nick Eust is not in the squad at all. I didn't read if he's injured or if he's just been dropped. But that is the other changes. So the squad's mostly the same, I think, from last week. Same front row, Wagner, Kaitu'u, and Longbottom. I did read that Pet Cowan is kind of ready to go, but I see his name is not there in the squad. One name that is in, bit of a blast from the past, is Richard Kahui. Some people in New Zealand may not have seen him since kind of World Cup 2011, but he's still around, and he's going to come on likely in the second half. Barring injuries, but he is there alongside Kyle Godwin in the backs reserves. But I mean, the guys I'm looking out for in the Force that have been really impressive thus far, McGregor's been good at fullback. Ralston has been very impressive on that right wing. Braki, I think his defense maybe gets a bit criticised. Got exposed a little bit last week, but I think offensively he is definitely going to add something. John O'Lance was my favourite player. I think last week he made a ton of tackles for a number 10. As a bit of a controversial pick when I put him in my dream team, but I liked what he was doing. So did my daughter. Ferris at number 7 is an absolute tackling machine. Look to him to really just try to keep the Brumbies forwards at bay. And Stowers has been impressive as well in the 6 jersey. Stowers, yeah, he's been really good. Good ball handling, number 6, and a good strong runner. I think Jeremy Thrush. I'm tripping over my own tongue. Jeremy Thrush is captain for this one. I got to go cook dinner, which is why I'm in a hurry. Jeremy Thrush is captain. So with Pryor out, he is captain, and we'll see how he runs the ship. Now, the Brumbies have made a fair few changes compared to that squad that played against the Tars. And it's good news. Solomon Akata is back. Now, he was really good pre-COVID. He was like, rugby league convert. Who knows how good he's going to go in rugby union. Bloody good was the answer. He was in top try-scoring form. Tom Banks is still at fullback, and Tom Wright is on the other wing. Interestingly, though, there's no Alolosio for like I think 8 weeks. He's out with a hamstring injury, so it's that Bailey Kunzel who's going to have to run the show at 10. This is maybe a chance for the likes of the old hand and John O'Lance to get the upper hand on his young opposite number. I mean, Alolosio is not like old veteran or anything, but he's at least got a little bit more experience than Kunzel, so we'll see how that goes. Maybe that's an opportunity for the Force. But with the Brumbies, it's their forwards that you really have to contain. I'm not saying that their backs don't add something, because, man, there's been some games where backs have just scored tries for fun. But we all know that Brumbies forward pack is tough. They have been getting penalised a bit more at the scrum than we might have expected, though. Sio gets a start this week because Slipper is out. Fainga and Alatoa are still there in the front row alongside him. Douglas, second row, alongside Frost, who's come into the starting lineup. Valtini is still there. Will Miller's come into the starting lineup. And there's no Cusack in the squad this week. I didn't read if he's injured or if he's just being dropped or rested or whatever. And Samu's at number 8. Kurandrani, Simone are the midfielders. I think Ire Simone's been in top form as well. So Braki and Co will have to do well to keep him well contained. Interestingly, Andy Muirhead is the guy who pays the price for Solomon Akata coming back. But Muirhead, I thought apart from his yellow card last week, he was on fire. So that's a bit unfortunate for him. But yeah, the Brumbies are 13-point favourites by the bookies here in New Zealand. And interestingly, when you look at Rugby Forecast's algorithm, it's a lot closer. They've got the Brumbies by 2 points. But remember, the Rugby Forecast algorithm does take into account home and away, whereas this is kind of more of a neutral venue. I don't know. But yeah, either way, I think the Force have been pretty good value in their games thus far. They've had leads and not been able to keep them. It's only a matter of time if they get a lead that they will keep it, because their fitness levels and match sharpness are just going to be getting better week after week. Some of these guys who've come late into the squad will get more adapted in team chemistry and whatnot. So yeah, look for the Force to maybe, I don't know if they're going to win, man. The Brumbies are the big time favourites in this AU comp, but they haven't been at their full pace yet, you reckon? Whereas the Force were predicted to get hidings and have been surprisingly good. Maybe not surprising to Western Australians. But anyway, should be a good couple of games this week. I think this one, if you're an Aotearoa fan, this is a must-watch because it is kind of like that finals feeling. This one, if you're a fan of that kind of romantic comeback story, the Force against the Brumbies also has a lot going for it as well. I think a lot of neutrals will be cheering on the Force in this one. But yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts on this one. How do you think it is going to pan out? If you don't know how to watch the games, stick around. I'll show you how to get that done for a relatively inexpensive price. But yeah, you guys take care, and I'll talk to you again soon. See you later. Right, guys, so if you are looking to get your fix on rugby and it's Super Rugby Aotearoa or Super Rugby AU that you want to watch, ESPN Plus seems to be the best option out there in terms of pricing, because they're at $4.99 American per month. However, you have to live in America. If you don't, you can do what I'm doing here and use a VPN. The one I use is ExpressVPN. The link for that is down in the description. There's like a sign-up code for 3 months free if you go for a year, 30-day money-back guarantee and all that jazz. But give it a crack. Connect to a server in America. That's what I'm doing here. I'm on Seattle. And when you go to a site like this one, ESPN Plus, so ESPN.com/ESPN Plus, instead of getting a page error like this one, you will actually get the content which Americans would be able to see, because you're kind of now technically in America. So like, I've already got an ESPN Plus account. You can see here, sign up for $4.99 a month. If you click that, It'll take you through to a standard sign-up page. You know, you've got to give your name, you've got to give your email address and a credit card. I think you can use PayPal as well, but when I tried PayPal, it didn't work. I used the credit card. I think the one thing you might have to do is Google a American postcode. I had to Google an American postcode to be able to sign up. But essentially, you sign up, and it's $4.99 a month. Once you signed up, you get into your account, like I'm in my account here. It's got all the stuff. It's got some UFC. Anything with ESPN Plus in the corner of the image is the stuff that you can stream. So it looks like there's some like FA Cup stuff and some movies like Bruce Lee. There's some UFC, other stuff like Serie A, football if you're into that. But basically what I'm into is the rugby. So I'm going to the magnifying glass, typing rugby. And the only rugby that's on at the moment is Super Rugby Aotearoa and Super Rugby AU. So as I record this, here are the upcoming games. In this first row, you can see all to see the full list. And then here are the on-demand games if you want to go back and watch them, if you missed them live or you just want to go back and watch them. So you can see all to see the previous ones as well. So yeah, man, it's pretty much as simple as that. If you click on an upcoming one, it's going to tell you it hasn't started yet. If you want to watch it live, you can at the start time. If you want to watch it on demand, you just go here and watch it on demand. You do have to be a little bit careful with, see these duplicated ones. You want the ESPN Plus one, not the ESPN2 one. That's the only kind of word of advice that I would give. But yeah, guys, ESPN Plus using the VPN. As I said, link to the VPN in the description if you want to give that a crack. As I said, it's got a 30-day money-back guarantee, so give it a try, and if you don't like the way it works, you can just get a refund. But simple as that, guys. Talk to you again soon. See you later.